Hello, my little Timothys. Welcome to the gravy train. Yeah, still working on the intro thing. Feel free to leave a comment on what my new intro should be, and I should define my entire personality around that for about a year until I forget about it and naturally go back to gravy, baby. Okay, just as I think I'm done, like, making all these mod videos, I just get pulled back in straight away to something big that just drops out of nowhere. That's right, today we're looking at the 1984 Revolution mod, which actually should be a pretty short and easy video for me to make because there's not a lot of content in it just yet. Now, I'm pretty certain this won't be the first 1984 mod that has been made for Hoi 4. In fact, I'm assuming there's probably a good handful of them. But realistically speaking, a lot of them are pretty straightforward. They don't really try to aim to do what this mod is actually trying to push for, which I know a lot of people are probably going to be a little bit upset about this, but it's a mod where you kind of have to read a lot of stuff. And then you also get a tiny little bit of Hoi 4 gameplay too. And I'd say it's not a lot of gameplay. I do think they're probably aiming for a bit more gameplay than other mods that are just purely read fests. But this is supposed to be 1984, of course. I'm probably going to upset a few people here, but I've never actually read 1984. And I'm going to say I've not read it. I have read it, but it was about 13, 15 years ago, and I cannot remember it for the life of me. But I have watched the 1984 movie a few years back, which is actually where I believe they're getting a lot of the imagery for this mod, which is a bit fresher in my memory, but not 100% up to date. I probably should have watched it, at least skimmed through a good synopsis of the book before I went into this deep dive, but yeah, that's not how we roll on the channel. We're just gonna freeball it. Yeah, that is John Hurt there from the movie, and I'm assuming you guys probably know 1984 a lot better than I do. Oh, it is one of those mods, by the way, that yeah, you can't tell. It's incredibly dark. Not just in the substance of the actual story that is being shown here, but also just in general. I mean, look at the ocean. Where's it gone? So yeah, we're going to be playing as Oceania. Now, I really cannot remember specifically how this world ended up like this, but things are pretty bad. Now, one thing I do remember from the book and the movie is simply the fact Oceania is trapped in what I think is called the Forever War, a war that just, yeah, it's what you call the Forever War. There you go, I got it on right. I don't know if it was ever clarified whether the Forever War was actually a thing that existed or just something that was used by Big Brother and the people in charge to actually, you know, keep the population scared and in control. Just like I'm keeping you all scared and in control by making you beg for the rat every day. But I think the mod is a bit more of a literal interpretation of everything in the book. So the Forever War is a thing and there is going to be conflict in the mod. Now, the mod does warn you that it is very early access and has said for content creators to stay away because it's not quite ready yet, and that ain't gonna stop me because I do think the mod has quite a bit of promise. Thus, I want to get people in right now, so hopefully you get yourself a little boost. And if you do want to try the mod out, link down below. Now, like I said, the mod's trying to aim for a bit more of a literal interpretation, trying to put, you know, this in a Hoi 4 context where you can actually fight and do other things like that. But specifically, the context that we're going to be finding ourselves in the first update is revolutions that will be popping up across the empire of Oceania. Oh, sorry, the socialist state of Oceania. It's not an empire. It's just very huge. Now, obviously, Eurasia is the big old baddie in the room, and, you know, Lenin, he's still around. Oh, we've also got the East Asian People's Federation under Kim Jong-il, but we are led by Big Brother, our overlord, keeping an eye on everything we do and making sure we don't get too ahead of ourselves. So we do have a few things going on straight away as Oceania. Obviously, of course, we are in a pretty totalitarian state of affairs. One thing that is kind of funny is we do have technological stagnation. As a result of constant years of warfare, global isolation, and general inefficiency, research and development has been stagnant or in some cases regressive. AKA, we literally can't research anything. We are too stupid, or at least we've been made to be too stupid for innovation. It's just another way for the man to keep us down. Okay, now I promise I won't read every single event, decision, whatnot, only ones that I think are important. And the first one we have up here is "'Tis for Thee." The year is 1984. Many decades have passed since the last great atomic war, and in its wake existing 3 super states. One of those states is Oceania, which rules under the political ideology of English socialism. Inheriting the forgotten legacies of the United States and the British Empire, the new year brings forth new opportunities to bring glory to the name of Big Brother. Oceania comprises the Americas, the Atlantic Islands, including the British Isles, Australasia, and the southern portion of Africa, ruled by Ingsoc and guided by the benevolent Big Brother. Oceania and its population exist in a constant struggle against its enemies, both beyond and within the boundaries of its vast territory. Though the struggle is great, every man and woman stands ready to fight for the ideals and the vision of Big Brother and the party to root out all agents of Goldstein and fully realize the revolution, even if they must be sacrificed in order to do so. Now, if I remember correctly, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure Goldstein is someone the state makes up as some sort of counter-revolutionary figure. Kind of like Trotsky in a way, because obviously 1984 is a big metaphor and allegory about Stalinism, but yeah, again, I'm not too sure about a lot of this stuff, but I'm pretty sure Goldstein was like a revolutionary person that the state uses as like their public enemy number one, like watch out for this guy, he's gonna destroy everything, blah 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 blah. And you know, it's heavily alluded that, does he exist? Is he real? Nobody knows. You never know, because you don't know anything. Reports coming in from the front that the Bush War has expanded down here, and you see our frontier administration is now dealing with a whole bunch of Marxist and counter-revolutionary thought. Is it real? Is it all in my head? I guess we don't know. But in a Hoi 4 sense, it is actually happening, and the revolutions are already starting, I see. Obviously, I did mention that a lot of the references can be related to Stalinism, and a big few metaphors that, you know, are on the nose in parts. But 1984 also is obviously about totalitarianism in general, and also the mass surveillance state, which obviously isn't just a Soviet thing if you live in 2025, because Big Brother is always watching. We are getting through to almost the end of our focus tree here, though, but we do have two interesting ones here. First off, we have expanded terror bombings, which is Julia startled him by saying casually that in her opinion, the war was not happening. The rocket bombs, which fell daily on London, were probably fired by the government of Oceania itself, just to keep people frightened. And considering it is me playing Hoi 4, that is definitely something I would do in-game. As such, I'm quite literally doing it to myself. That's right, no more metaphors, baby. We're dropping bombs on London. Next up, we have secure southern India. Winston had squatted down beside her. He tore open a corner of the packet. It's real tea, not blackberry leaves. There's been a lot of tea about lately. They've captured India or something, she said vaguely. And as you can see, currently, India, it's led by this, with absolute radio silence. So what's actually going on over there? Nobody knows. Well, now I guess I know what's over there. It's me. We've seen southern India. Funnily enough, without much of a fight there, it just simply handed over to me. Almost like potentially I already owned it, or I never owned it at all. At every few moments, the fury of the crowd boiled over, and the voice of the speaker was drowned by a wild beast-like roaring that rose uncontrollably from thousands of throats. The most savage yells of all came from the schoolchildren. The speech had been proceeding for perhaps 20 minutes when a messenger hurried on the platform with a scrap of paper was slipped into the speaker's hand. He unrolled it and read it without pausing his speech. Nothing altered in his voice or manner in the content of what he was saying, but suddenly the names were different. Without words said, a wave of understanding rippled through the crowd. Oceania was at war with East Asia. It was in a confusing series of events there, because clearly we're not at war with East Asia, and it was even more confusing because it said that we were at war with Eurasia, but in fact, we were actually at war with East Asia the whole time, and we're clearly not at war with either of them. More importantly, we're on to our very last focus here. A focus that I'm assuming ends the canon of the book and the movie, which is based on the book, funnily enough, where the main character, Winston, is broken by the state and finally gives in from all the mental and physical torture that he had to experience, and just, well, he loves Big Brother now. Oh, it's perfect. iSorrowproductions is watching you. Why haven't you hit the like button yet? Okay, now here we go. Across Oceania, similar to the disorder taking place in Eurasia and East Asia, growing whispers of discontent and rebellion have emerged. Whispers of a hidden army in the Rocky Mountains and the Amazon rainforest continue to circulate. Movements in the frontiers of Australasia, the vast territories of the Cape Province. Something is coming. Something that will test Oceania and the success of the revolution. The anti-revolution is coming. We must prepare. Okay, now I can't really remember which countries have content here, but I'm pretty sure both Airstrip 1 and the 13 sectors have it. Airstrip 1, if you don't know, is what is referred to in universe is the British Isles, which is Airstrip 1. We're, however, going to play the 13 sectors, which, if I'm led to believe here, is America. Yes, there you go. It has actually now released all the other nations too out of Oceania, which is cool. And now we wait for the brewing revolution. Oh, there you go. It's actually already started to take place. The revolution against the province of Amazonia is kicking off. In a second. What the? Now, it looks like all corners of the state is currently falling to the anti-revolutionaries everywhere except me and Airstrip 1. Oh, I guess I spoke a little too soon there. We do get the choice here of holding on to the 13 sectors or liberty or death. And we become the Second Continental Army, which of course we're going to do. Now, we're not the only nation to break out over here. We have the Canadian Royal Resistance under Michael I and a few other state liberation movements, all of which we are allied with. Now, of course, I do have a few generals here, but I think we know who I'm going to be picking. I guess Elvis didn't have much time to get out of the military in this universe. Second American Revolution. Ground zero for the death of freedom and the rise of Ingsoc. It was here, and that the evils of Ingsoc took root in the minds of our people, poisoning their hearts against their nation and leading to the destruction of those democratic Oceanian government, leading to the installation of Big Brother. For many years we have waited, biding our time for the day we can restore what was lost and bring an end to this evil. That time has come at last for us to cast off the veil and to show Big Brother and his band of tyrants that, much to their horror, the United States still exists. Thank you very much. Sorry. That was one of our generals in the back. What are you doing with your leg? And now bringing democracy back to America is going to be a little bit tough, but with all of our allies combined, I reckon we've got a pretty good shot here. I think first things first, we should just rush for the West Coast, get that out the way so we don't have to worry about it, and then just push on east. Oh, now in the meantime, it looks like Airstrip 1 is also going through a revolution led by Winston, funnily enough, so I guess he somehow broke free of his mind control, essentially, but he is now leading the British Royal Resistance. Whether or not this will be successful, we will have to take our time to figure out, because we have far more important things to do on the home front. The myth of Big Brother. It's time to finally spill the beans. Big Brother, if he ever was real, certainly isn't anymore. Oceania has no real leadership to speak of, only fanatical party members hunting one another and pulling each other down constantly in order to maintain the terrible status quo of oppression and despair. You can never meet or see Big Brother beyond his static face on the telescreen, because he wasn't even real in the first place. And as such, the undefended front line here is collapsing, and we are marching straight on over to Big Brother himself and declaring it Washington once more. And there we go, the collapse of the 13 sectors. After years of relentless warfare across the North American continent, spanning the Rocky Mountains to the Great Plains, the 13 sectors have crumbled, leaving a chaotic landscape. New government are emerging to fill the power vacuum, but communities are fractured and many people find themselves displaced in unfamiliar territory, struggling to adapt to the new land and culture. Now, the other revolutions are still ongoing. The South American one is looking pretty steady, and the Airstrip 1 has got themselves a solid front line. If I could help, I would, but unfortunately, we've got quite the mess to clean up. So now that we have got ourselves our independence and security from Oceania, we now need to put together a nation. As currently, the Americas are looking pretty damn fractured. So we'll start off by convening the Provincial Congress. Members of the Congress, please settle down and find your settles. I think it means seats. We do have a choice here between military primacy and maintaining Washington's legacy, so we are going to go with this one over here, as I feel like there's been a bit too much authoritarianism in this world. Good to see, though, that the, Airstrip 1 has fallen and Airstrip 2 has been established. A word from the king. Standing before the press, Elvis excelled as he looked upon the reporters and journalists that had gathered before him. They were green, trying to figure out their feels and does, experience that they were no professionals. Not like during the old days. Elvis let out a quiet chuckle as he thought about the days when he was a younger before everything changed, when he was just an aspiring musician who made the women swoon. So I guess Elvis was still Elvis in this universe up until a point where he picked up his rifle and brought back freedom to America. He was still trying to figure that out. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to inform all of you that today the Continental Congress has formally reinstated the Constitution of the United States of America. Elvis announced, allowing the news to settle in for all of them before continuing to speak. This is an important milestone for all of us here today. Our rights from freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and so many other essential God-given rights are safe and secure once more. Freedom is being restored, one little baby step at a time. I'm just going to keep talking like Elvis. I need to stop. Elvis's deep, smooth voice continued, the tinge of a southern accent still present, even after all these years. General Presley, sir, does this mean you'll be making songs again? One of the reporters called out from the crowd. Elvis chuckled, a genuine smile on his face as he thought about the brief stage days he once more. We'll see, son. Great news, everyone. Elvis finally beat the toilet dying allegations. As for rebuilding America, we can start to reintegrate all the land that we got in our uprising and get it back into our core territory. All right, fellows, we're going to need ourselves a president to keep this land unified. No, no, it's Dan Quayle. Can I trust you to keep this nation together when I'm gone, Dan? The aged voice of Ferdinand asked calmly. Oh, no. Well, I guess we've left America in the hands of Dan Quayle. Which, again, is actually the end of the path for the Americas over here. The mod is pretty early access. Like I said at the start, so there's not a lot to see or do, or even, like, you know, really get really into, but it is a nice little teaser for what is to come. So I'm not too sure if we've left the world in a better place or a worse one, considering the circumstances. I mean, technically, if you wanted to continue this game, you could, because you could just load up Red Dusk now. You can see exactly where Dan Quayle would have taken us. But yeah, there's not a lot in the game so far content-wise, but what is there is pretty damn good. And, you know, usually I'm not a big fan of these mods, you know, there isn't a lot of action, but you can definitely tell there's probably going to be quite a bit in this. A nice mix between, obviously, reading a lot and also playing a bunch. Now, in terms of focus tree, that is everything, but we can go ahead and now reunify the rest of the Americas, which I will do. Oh, we also get an option over here to intervene in Britain and their uprising, but I think their uprising is, sorry, Winston, what's going on here? But yeah, I think their uprising has been dealt with at this point. And Quayle's only got one thing on his mind, and that was the reunification of America. Oh, and there we go, the restoration of the United Kingdom. Winston has brought it all back together. Oh, and he also brought Michael over. I guess he was the only one that survived from the royal family, I'm going to assume. And just as Sherman once did, Dan Quayle marches to the shore. You know, one thing I have complained about is obviously the mod is super dark, but one thing I really like is the color schemes of the countries. It really does remind me of Darkest Hour, which is kind of cool. Now, with the fall of New York City, we will have enough to reunify this country once more and create the United States of America. Oh, actually, I can also go ahead and demand Alaska. Hopefully, they say yeah. I really want to fight them for it. Oh, there you go. Perfect. They did say yes, so we don't have to worry about that one. Yeah, America has been reunified. I didn't actually realize those decisions popped up at once. So good thing I checked, or else I would have just ended it where the focus tree ended. But boom. Nice. Now, for the rest of the world, revolutions are still going on the remnants of Oceania. In fact, I did notice that the South American one did fail completely. But the Australian one actually did pretty well. The African one very well, and the one in Central America over here is still ongoing, but I'm assuming, I'm not too sure actually what they're gonna do for the future scope of the mod, how far they want to take it, you know, how much conflict they want to put in, but there is so much possibility for this, and it is a pretty cool world and concept to do something in, bar just the original opening bit, which is just the book. But, you know, past that, it is not a lot to do with 1984 and its messaging of, obviously, anti-totalitarianism, nationalism, surveillance state stuff, because it is just, you know, it's just a Hoi 4 mod past that. But it's a Hoi 4 mod in a very interesting universe, and I very much am looking forward to trying this out more, and I hope a lot of you guys actually try the mod out too and give them any support they need, because I think it's got a lot of promise. So obviously I'll leave it linked down below, and if you want to check it out and help them out, support them, click that link down there. And if you want to help me and support me, well, Big Brother's telling you to hit the sub and like button and you'll do it.